Hi, I'm Georgina. Most people call me Gina, except my parents who insist on using my full name like it's some kind of weapon. My son Tyler is 8, smart, kind, and the center of my universe. I'm a single mom, and despite my parents' constant criticism about my life choices, I've built a good life for us. Mom, can Grandma and Grandpa pick me up today? Tyler asked over breakfast, spoon clinking against his cereal bowl. You said you have that big meeting. I hesitated, coffee mug suspended midair. Are you sure? I can reschedule. They said they wanted to spend more time with me. He shrugged, eyes hopeful. Grandpa said he'd take me fishing. When did he say that? I asked, setting down my mug. When they visited Sunday. When you were cooking. I sighed. My parents had been pushing for more influence in Tyler's life lately. I'll call them, but I'll have a backup plan just in case. They'll come, Tyler said confidently. They promised. My mother answered on the second ring. Georgina, it's early. Tyler mentioned you offered to pick him up from school today. I have an important client meeting at 4. Did he now? Her voice held that familiar edge. And you immediately need a favor. You told him you wanted to spend more time with him, I countered, keeping my voice level. Fine, she said after a pause. What time? 3:15, the elementary school on Maple. You've been there before. We'll be there, though I don't see why you can't manage your schedule better. When I was raising you... Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it, I interrupted. Tyler's really looking forward to it. After hanging up, I turned to find Tyler beaming. See? Told you. At work, my phone buzzed at 3:30 with a text from an unknown number. Mrs. Parker, this is Miss Alvarez from Maple Elementary. Tyler is still waiting in the office. Your parents came but left without him. Please call immediately. My blood ran cold. Excuse me, I stammered to my clients. Family emergency. I called the school while rushing to my car. What happened? I demanded. Your parents arrived, Miss Alvarez explained, voice tense. But when Tyler ran up to them, there was some kind of disagreement. Your father said loudly, and I quote, let him walk home like a stray. Then they drove off. Tyler's quite upset. I'll be there in 15 minutes, I promised, hands shaking as I started the car. When I arrived, Tyler sat hunched in a chair, face blotchy from crying. Miss Alvarez, a stern-faced woman with kind eyes, stood nearby. Mommy! Tyler crashed into me, sobbing against my stomach. What happened, sweetie? I asked, kneeling to his level. Between hiccuping breaths, he managed. Grandpa said I'm just like you, undisciplined. He said walking home would teach me a lesson. Miss Alvarez cleared her throat. Mrs. Parker, may I speak with you privately? Tyler sat with the secretary while Miss Alvarez led me to her office. This is concerning behavior, she said, closing the door. Tyler said they told him to walk home like a stray, and that your mother coddles you too much. I witnessed part of this exchange myself. I'm horrified, I whispered, nausea rising. They've been critical of my parenting, but this... As a mandatory reporter, I need to ask, is Tyler safe around your parents? The question hit like a physical blow. I thought he was, until today. Consider documenting this incident, she advised, sliding me a card. This is a family advocate I know. What they did wasn't just unkind. It was endangerment. Walking out with Tyler's hand in mine, my phone rang. My sister, Emma. Did you hear what happened? Mom's spinning some crazy story about Tyler misbehaving, but Gina, I heard Dad in the background. This is beyond the pale. My free hand curled into a fist. They abandoned my 8-year-old. Told him to walk home. 3 miles. Alone. Jesus, Emma breathed. What are you going to do? I looked down at Tyler, at the card in my hand, at the school building where my parents had abandoned my child. Whatever it takes. They said what? Megan exclaimed, nearly spilling her coffee across my kitchen table. My oldest friend since college, she'd rushed over after Tyler went to bed. That he should walk home like a stray, I repeated, the words still burning. 3 miles. He's 8, Meg. That's beyond cruel, she said, shaking her head. What did Tyler say happened before that? He said he ran up to the car all excited about fishing. Grandpa was weird from the start, asking if he'd done his homework yet, if he'd behaved in class. Then when Tyler mentioned I had a meeting, Dad went off about how I'm always pawning him off on others. So they punished Tyler because they're mad at you, Megan concluded, disgust evident in her voice. Classic emotional manipulation. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Dad's telling everyone Tyler was having a tantrum and they disciplined him. Mom's backing him up. Unbelievable. They're rewriting history already, I muttered, showing Megan the text. You need to talk to someone official, she urged. This isn't just family drama anymore. The next morning, I called the number Miss Alvarez had given me. 2 hours later, I sat across from Diane Fletcher, family advocate, in her sparse but welcoming office. Walk me through exactly what happened, she requested, pen poised over a legal pad. I recounted everything, including the history of my parents' criticisms and controlling behavior. Your son was abandoned by adults who had agreed to take custody of him, Diane stated flatly. That's child endangerment. Do you have any documentation of previous incidents? Texts, maybe some emails, I replied. They've always been critical, but never anything like this. Were there witnesses besides the teacher? The school secretary, probably other parents in the pickup line. My sister heard my father essentially confess. Diane nodded. That's good. Would your sister be willing to provide a statement? Absolutely. She's furious. My phone rang. My mother. I showed Diane. Answer it, she suggested. Speakerphone. I'll be silent. I took a deep breath and answered. Hello? Georgina, this ridiculous situation has gone far enough, my mother began without preamble. Your father and I were teaching Tyler a valuable lesson about respect. You're blowing this out of proportion. You abandoned an 8-year-old child at school and told him to walk home alone. I stated evenly. Don't be dramatic, she snapped. We circled the block. We were coming back. That's not what the school staff witnessed, or what Tyler experienced. Since when do you believe a child over your own parents? She demanded. This is exactly why Tyler needs our influence. You have no sense of discipline or respect. Is that why you told my son to walk home like a stray? A pause. Your father was frustrated. Tyler was being difficult. He was excited about going fishing with his grandfather, something you both promised him. We don't owe you explanations about how we choose to discipline. You have no right to discipline my child, especially by abandoning him. Don't contact us again. Don't you dare threaten me, my mother hissed. If you pursue this, you'll regret it. Family matters stay within the family. After hanging up, Diane raised an eyebrow. That was illuminating and helpful for documentation. What should I do next? I asked, hands trembling. File a police report, request a restraining order, and document every interaction. She slid a form across the desk. Let's start with an official statement. Then we're going to talk to someone I know at Child Protective Services. Emma called as I was leaving. They're telling everyone you're keeping Tyler from them out of spite, she warned. Dad's threatening to sue for grandparents' rights. Let him try, I replied. I'm meeting with CPS tomorrow. 3 days later, I stood in my parents' driveway, Emma beside me for moral support. We'd agreed to meet here rather than at my home. Neutral ground was out of the question with my parents. You don't have to do this, Emma said, squeezing my arm. The restraining order is processing. The police report is filed. I need to say it to their faces, I replied. For Tyler, for me. The door swung open before we knocked. My father filled the door frame, face thunderous. So you've decided to be reasonable, he announced, stepping back to let us in. The living room looked exactly as it always had. Immaculate, unwelcoming, like a museum where children weren't allowed to touch anything. My mother perched on the edge of the sofa, face a careful mask. Georgina. Emma. She nodded stiffly. I assume you're here to apologize for this overreaction? Overreaction? I repeated, remaining standing when they sat. You abandoned my child at school. We were teaching him a lesson about respect, my father stated flatly. Something you've clearly failed to do. By telling an 8-year-old to walk home like a stray? Emma interjected, voice sharp. What kind of lesson is that exactly? Stay out of this, Emma, my mother warned. This is between us and Georgina. No, I corrected. This is about Tyler, my son, who you endangered. My father scoffed. Endangered? Don't be melodramatic. The boy needs discipline. Not from you, not ever again. My mother's expression shifted to one I recognized, the look that preceded getting her way. Georgina, darling, we may have overreacted slightly. Your father was having a difficult day with his blood pressure medication. Don't, I interrupted. Don't make excuses. We're your parents, my father thundered, standing now. We have rights. Not to my child, you don't. We've already spoken to a lawyer, my mother said smoothly. Grandparents' rights are quite clear in this state, especially given your history. My history as a successful single mother with a spotless record? I challenged. Against your history of abandoning a minor in your care and instructing him to walk 3 miles alone? That history? You ungrateful, my father started, taking a step toward me. Emma moved between us. Touch her. An assault goes on the police report too. Police report? My mother paled. You wouldn't dare. Already filed, I confirmed, along with statements from the school staff and Tyler's therapist, documenting the emotional impact of your lesson. This is ridiculous, my father sputtered. We're family. Family doesn't abandon children, I stated. Family doesn't use children as pawns to hurt their parents. The restraining order should be processed by tomorrow. Restraining order? My mother was on her feet now. Georgina, please, we're sorry if we upset Tyler. We can work this out. No, I said, voice steady. We can't. You little bitch, my father hissed, lunging forward. After everything we've done for you, Emma's phone was already recording. That'll look great in court. Get out of my house, he roared, face purple. You're no daughter of mine. You'll regret this, Georgina, I swear to God. The only thing I regret, I replied, heading for the door, is ever trusting you with my son. 6 weeks later, I sat across from Judge Martinez, my attorney beside me. Across the aisle, my parents and their lawyer watched with barely concealed hostility. Mrs. Parker, the judge addressed me, your restraining order request cites a specific incident of child endangerment. Can you briefly summarize for the record? My parents agreed to pick up my son from school, then abandoned him there, telling him to walk home like a stray. He's 8 years old, Your Honor. The school was 3 miles from our home, across busy intersections. And you have witnesses to this event? My attorney nodded. The school administrator's statement is included in the file, along with the statement from the child's therapist documenting emotional distress. We've reviewed those, the judge confirmed, turning to my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Green, your response? Their attorney leaned forward. Your Honor, my clients admit poor judgment in the heat of the moment, but contest the characterization of events. They merely drove around the block as a disciplinary measure. That contradicts the statements from multiple witnesses, Judge Martinez noted, including your own words to the child, which were overheard by school staff. 2 hours of testimony later, Judge Martinez rendered her decision. The restraining order would stand for 1 year, with supervised visitation possible only after family counseling. Outside the courthouse, Tyler waited with Megan on a bench, playing a handheld game. His face lit up when he saw me. Did we win? He asked immediately. Yes, sweetie. The judge agreed that what Grandma and Grandpa did wasn't okay. Will I ever see them again? His voice was smaller now, conflicted. That's up to you when you're ready, but only with another adult present. He nodded solemnly. Miss Diane says it's okay to miss someone but still be mad at them. Miss Diane is very smart. That evening, Emma came over with pizza. After Tyler went to bed, we sat on the porch swing. They're telling everyone you've poisoned Tyler against them, she reported, swirling her wine glass. Cousin Jen called me ranting about family loyalty. Let them talk, I shrugged. The court saw the evidence. Dad tried to corner me today, she continued. Wanted me to talk sense into you. When I refused, he threatened to cut me out of the will too. I laughed without humor. Emotional blackmail, their favorite tool. What happens now? Emma asked. We heal. Tyler continues therapy. I document everything in case they violate the order. My phone chimed with a text from my mother. This isn't over. Families forgive. You're making a terrible mistake, I showed Emma, who rolled her eyes. Classic mom, always gets the last word. Not this time, I said, deleting the message without responding. 2 days later, a large envelope arrived from my parents' attorney. Inside was a formal letter requesting mediation, along with a handwritten note from my mother. Georgina, please reconsider. We're devastated. We made one mistake. I called Diane immediately. Keep the letter, she advised. Don't respond. If they continue contacting you, it's a violation of the order. That weekend, Tyler and I planted a garden in our backyard, something my parents had always dismissed as messy and pointless. As we patted soil around a young apple tree, Tyler looked up at me. Mom, are you sad about Grandma and Grandpa? I considered this carefully. I'm sad about what happened. I'm sad they couldn't be the grandparents you deserve. But I'm not sad about keeping you safe. Miss Diane says sometimes the bravest thing is walking away from people who hurt you. I hugged him, dirt-smudged hands and all. Miss Diane is right again. Will they ever say sorry? Like, really mean it? I don't know, buddy. Some people can't admit when they're wrong. He nodded thoughtfully. Then I guess we just keep growing our tree. Exactly. We keep growing. Later that night, I stared at the final text my mother had sent before I blocked their numbers. You'll regret pushing us away. Everyone needs family. I typed a response I would never send. We are a family, just not the kind you understand. Instead, I deleted the message thread completely and looked at the photo I'd taken today. Tyler grinning beside our new apple tree, future firmly planted in soil of our own choosing. Have you ever had to walk away from toxic family members for your own well-being? What boundaries did you set, and how did you maintain them? Share your experiences in the comments below.